It was the whistling that woke me. Not a bird call, not wind through the trees. This was human, off-key, slow, like someone was dragging a familiar melody across barbed wire. I didn't recognize the tune at first, not until it looped. We wear red, we wear blue, the camp anthem. I sat up in the dark, my breath fogging in the cold air. The fire was out, the lanterns dim. I glanced toward the cabin door. It was closed, but the sound was coming from just outside. Sienna stirred in the bunk across from me. "You hear that?" I whispered. She nodded without opening her eyes. "Whistling." She said it like she'd already heard it in her dreams. I grabbed the flashlight from beside my bunk and pushed myself up slowly, careful not to step on the third bedroll, the one we didn't bring. Still zipped tight, still undisturbed. The cabin door creaked when I opened it, but the whistling didn't stop. Outside, the fog was thicker than before, heavy, wet. It clung to my clothes and skin, carrying the smell of burned pine and something sweeter underneath, like rotted fruit or spoiled syrup. And there he was, standing near the old mess hall flagpole, tall, still, head tilted back, like he was staring straight up at the sky. I couldn't make out his face, just the broad shape of him in the mist, like a paper cutout barely glued to the world. He was whistling the camp song, but the pacing was wrong, too slow, too breathy. Notes dragged, like he was playing them in reverse. Sienna stepped up beside me, arms crossed tight. "That's one of them," she said. "That's Dan, head counselor." I blinked. "How do you know?" "Because he used to wear that stupid patch on his shoulder, the one with the raccoon saluting, and he did. It was still there. Same uniform, same stance. Only Dan should have been in his 50s by now. This man wasn't." We stepped off the porch together. The ground was soft beneath my boots, like walking on moss-covered bones. No birds, no frogs, just that soft, continuous whistling. As we moved closer, the figure at the flagpole stopped. Mid-note, his head turned, not all at once. It pivoted like a marionette being cranked sideways, too slow, too stiff. Then he walked into the fog and vanished behind the mess hall. No sound, no footsteps, just gone. When we got to the flagpole, we found something else. The fire pit was lit. Flames crackled gently, no smoke, no source. The wood was stacked in a pyramid, perfect, geometric. Not how we left it, not natural. And on the other side of the pit, fresh footprints, deep, counselor boots. They led from the cabin to the fire, and nowhere else. No return path, no scattering, just arrival. We returned to cabin 6 in silence. I kept thinking about the way Dan's head turned, like he'd forgotten how human joints were supposed to work, like he was wearing a costume and hadn't gotten the sizing right. When we got to the steps, Sienna grabbed my arm. The door was closed. I had left it open, and nailed to it, dead center, was a clipboard, just like the ones the staff used to carry for bunk checks and flag ceremonies. I pulled it free slowly. My stomach sank before I even read the paper beneath. At the top, in block letters, morning check-in, counselor roster. Below that, a list of names. Some I recognized, some I didn't. All typed cleanly, except 2, ours. Sienna Dawson, reclaimed. Tobias Crane, reclaimed. Handwritten in thick red ink. The counselor building was never open this early. Back then they used to sleep late, miss wake-up call. burn toast in the rec room and pretend it was planned. Real people. Loud, imperfect, normal. Now, the windows were clean. The lights glowed soft yellow behind thin curtains. There was no dust, no signs of age or abandonment, just quiet. Sienna hesitated at the threshold. "You ready for this?" she asked. "No," I said, and pushed the door open anyway. The rec hall looked exactly how I remembered it. At first, the same sagging card tables, same tacky posters on the walls, same hand-painted "Welcome back, campers" banner in cursive that no one had taken down since 2006. But the colors were wrong. Too clean, too saturated, like everything had been recreated from memory, not preserved. And they were there, 5 counselors, sitting at folding tables, each one spaced exactly apart like mannequins on display. They were smiling, all of them, wide, teeth-baring grins that didn't reach their eyes. Their eyes didn't blink. Dan sat at the center, same patch on his shoulder, same sun-bleached baseball cap, bent bill, chewing gum tucked in his cheek. But his skin was pale, too pale for summer, and his lips never moved as he smiled. When we stepped in, the 5 of them turned to face us at the exact same time. Dan spoke first. "You're late for flag duty," he said. His voice was flat, rehearsed, like a line in a school play he'd practiced too many times. Sienna took a step back. "This isn't real," she whispered. "They're dead. I saw the reports." None of them responded. Another counselor, Miss Janey, I think, nodded once and said, "Breakfast first, then bunks." They gestured to the long table at the back of the room. It wasn't pancakes and eggs. It was meat. Raw, slick, still glistening with blood. And the flies, God, the flies were already there. Dozens of them, crawling across the flesh in lazy circles, like they'd been waiting too. "Eat up," Dan said. "Campers need strength." I turned away from the table and met Sienna's eyes. Her face was frozen, not in shock, but recognition. "I remember this," she said. "What?" "The day before the drowning, the counselors all called us in for a meeting, told us not to wander past the lake, not to go near the old dock." Dan stood now. He didn't walk. He unfolded, limbs too long, bones too stiff, like he hadn't moved in a very, very long time. "Did you wander?" he asked, tilting his head. I felt my chest tighten. "Did you swim?" Miss Janey added. They all began speaking at once now. "Did you scream? Did you see what he saw? Did you bring it back with you? Did you lie? Did you forget?" The questions came faster, layered, almost like a chant. The words tangled over one another like static building in the air. Sienna covered her ears. I stepped backward, bumped into a table, reached out blindly and opened a drawer behind it just to break the moment. Inside were counselor name tags, stacked, burned, every single one blackened, edges melted, names erased, except one. It was at the very bottom, still warm. I picked it up carefully, flipping it over. The front was scorched, but on the back, scratched in crude lines with something sharp, was a name. My name. Not printed, carved. Fresh. We ran. Out the recreation hall door, past the mess hall, through the trees, into the dirt trails we'd memorized as kids, routes we used to sneak out to the lake or cut through the back lot toward the ranger's tower. But the path wasn't right. It was there at first. The same forked turn near the stone fire circle. the same crooked log we used to dare each other to sit on. But after 10 minutes of walking, we passed the same log again, and then again. I marked a tree with my pocket knife, a single slash across the bark. We turned a different direction. 5 minutes later, the same tree, the same slash. Except now, the bark was unmarked. I tried again. 2 slashes this time, deep. We moved faster. Sienna kept her flashlight on the ground, eyes scanning for footprints. We're going in circles. I didn't answer, because I was starting to realize it wasn't a circle at all. It was a cage. After an hour of this, we found the old bulletin board nailed to the side of the main trail signpost, something we hadn't seen in over a decade. There was a map pinned to it, not a copy of the old brochure map, the kind printed for parents and visitors. This one was new, hand-drawn, detailed. Marked in thick red lines were new trails we didn't recognize, a new structure labeled only as the nest. I looked closer. The cabins were on it, all 12, but cabin 6, ours, was labeled OCCUPIED. Sienna touched the map gently, like it might change under her fingers. "Where the hell is the nest?" she asked. I didn't want to know. That's when we saw them again. The counselors, standing between the trees, too far to see clearly, just silhouettes at first. Dan, I think, was in front. His head was tilted at a full 90-degree angle. It swayed as if caught in a breeze, but the air was dead still. Another one was upside down, hanging from a high branch, arms limp at his sides, chin tucked to his chest like a bat sleeping in reverse. A third crouched on all fours, hands twitching, facing the wrong way, but its head was twisted toward us, smiling. We backed away slowly. The radio in my backpack crackled to life. We hadn't touched it since the last message. A voice came through, familiar, calm, not the counselors, not static. Something older. "You were campers," it said. "Now you're staff." Then a click, more static, and then one final message. "The children are coming." We ran until we reached the cabin. It was late now, too late to be awake. The sky was still starless, not black, just absent. Cabin 6's door creaked open as we approached. No wind, no one there. Inside, it was cold, colder than it should have been with the fire pit still glowing outside. And then we saw them, 6 bedrolls, neatly lined up along the floorboards. Where there had been 3, now there were 6. All zipped, all bulging slightly, all breathing. The slow rise and fall of fabric, just visible in the lantern light. Sienna grabbed my hand. I counted them again. And I realized one of them was in my bunk.